This feels like a good snow day song, even if it's, me and Julio down by the schoolyard. That's not necessarily a snow day song, but it feels like, snow days are fun. Do you like snow days? Always.
Drive slow out there.
Yeah.
Like, if it's going to be cold, then at least make it to where, like, something fun and exciting happens that doesn't happen a lot,
Oh, what, snow?
Yeah. Like, I like the snow. The snow's fun. It's fun to look outside and see
It's fun
snow.
for a period of time.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I love that Nashville has the perfect balance of snow. Like, we will get 1 to 2 of these a year. Maybe not 7 inches, but 1 to 2 a year. But I imagine 3-4 months in a row of it would get exhausting.
We should open the windows up so we can see the snow.
No. The windows are closed when we do the show.
Do you want me to be blinded?
Yes.
The only, I don't know why every other show doesn't care about the lighting the way that I'm hyper fixated on the lighting.
Yeah, I also don't care about the lighting.
No, well, it's because you.
But I do like
because you hiss at the ring light that they put in front of you, which is supposed to help you in your raccoon eyes that you refuse to acknowledge, even though I'm sending you these very nice face masks for you to use on a regular basis. Bert took advantage of the face mask. Did you?
No.
Which is he told me he did it not a week ago. He lied to me about this face mask that I sent him home with.
I know the one you sent me home with. I did, and it felt very nice. But I haven't since. I don't have any.
I got no face mask.
I'm all natural.
You got a Christmas present from me that you probably didn't deserve. All of you got Christmas presents that you probably didn't deserve. But that's neither here nor there. We hope you're enjoying your snow day. Carson Beck, he's not interested in snow. He's not interested in staying at Georgia. He's headed to Miami. That's the news. Carson Beck declared for the transfer portal yesterday. He's headed down to Coral Gables to be at least in competition to be the Canes' next quarterback in the absence of Cam Ward.
He's the Canes' next quarterback.
Will declare for the NFL draft. I don't know anything about their backup situation. I know he played, and he was, he's all right. He wasn't bad.
He will be making money, and he will be the starting quarterback of the Miami Hurricanes.
Well, sure.
And Gunnar Stockton moves on as the starting quarterback of the Georgia Bulldogs.
His girlfriend also is a college basketball player at the University of Miami, so I'm sure that doesn't hurt the situation. I don't know how much influence that specifically had, but they do have a quarterback opening, and Carson Beck is a player who was talked about as having draft pick day 2 potentially interest prior to the surgery. He did declare. He, of course, had the shoulder surgery that knocked him out of the college football playoff for as long as Georgia was in it. Gunnar Stockton made the start. They came up short against Notre Dame, but not necessarily because of Gunnar Stockton. I mean, they Notre Dame just outplayed them and outcoached them in that particular game. And so that's why, as a part of the reason why Notre Dame has advanced to the national championship the way that they have. So Miami had a strong pitch to land Carson Beck coming off that 10-2 season. And he has plenty of financial opportunities there. Obviously, they've got a lot in terms of name, image, and likeness mobilization that they will be able to offer him, or I'm sure have offered him at this point in time. How much more he can improve? What was he? 28 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, QBR of 80.9 this year, which ranked 9th in the country, and by all accounts had a disappointing season.
Absolutely. I mean, again, like you said, was talked about as the number 1 pick before the start of the season.
So was Will Levis.
Multiple preseason mock drafts. But not to the extent that Carson Beck was. Carson Beck played on a team that was expected to contend for a national championship and did until they didn't and lost to Notre Dame in the quarterfinal. But Mario Cristobal has this pitch now. Hey, we got Cam Ward over from Washington State. Look what we did. He's going to be a top 2 pick. Come over from Georgia. Now, Cam Ward had a very different path. He was on this ascension. And Carson Beck obviously regressed in a big way this past year. And he's a very different player from Cam Ward.
And also his wide receivers did him no favors.
None.
No favors.
None. And Miami lost a ton in the transfer portal at wide receiver. One of them local, Isaiah Horton, former Oakland star, hit the portal after a productive season for Miami. So we'll see how the Hurricanes kind of, continue to operate in this mercenary-like way of building out a roster. Not to the extent of a Florida State that we saw bottom out in the most drastic way possible, but this will be an interesting experiment for Carson Beck.
So that's the latest transfer portal news, or the most impactful transfer portal news. What's the count What's the count out currently of players in the transfer portal that haven't already found landing spots? What did we end up? What was it at its peak? Do we have a number, a general number?
Like 2,000.
Because like a week, like a couple of days in, it was 1,000 at least, and I expected there to be somewhere between
much more,
1,500 and 2,000 kids that were in the damn transfer portal. It's crazy.
There's more supply than there is demand.
Sure,
I'll say that
for sure. But that's what it was always. That was always going to be the case, right? And this is the risk that kids take when they try and capitalize on other opportunities. There's just so many opportunities to be had, and certainly only so many financially beneficial opportunities to be had.
Yeah, this is not what I was talking about when I said if I could pick any superpower, it would be teleportation.
What's up?
Nothing. Just looking to you for a laugh that you didn't give me.
Is that better or worse than his voice of the Vols? His Vought turned Vought. You didn't
Vatva?
even. Well, he said Vatva, but that's not even right. It's Vatv.
Vatva.
Vatva.
It sounds Russian. Of
all the ways to break news, why are we so bad at that? We just can't do anything well as a radio show. We can't do anything seriously.
I think we do that well, though. We just fall forward really well.
We have no choice. All this breaking news just hammers us as soon as the radio show starts. Seemingly every day. Maybe it's just this week. This week has been exhausting on a variety of different fronts.
This week has felt like a month.
That we can't take seriously news when even it involves our friends on a national scale, and he's got to look around because he's making terrible jokes as if he's doing, what's amateur hour at a comedy club, and he's looking back at Jackson. Just give me a pity laugh. Just give me a chuckle. And
the desperation in my heart when something falls as flat as it does, and I look to Jackson for just a charity laugh.
And you're greeted with the look that I'm normally greeted with, which is he's not paying attention. What happened?
And now I have Zach just shaking his head at me from the control room too.
Well, Zach is also well versed in terrible comedy. I don't know that he's the one you want to be looking at to bounce your feedback off of. But either way, so from transfer portal news to Titans general manager news. Now, the thing that I'm not interested in doing with all the candidates that are listed, we can tell you the candidates and who's been reported and who's already interviewed. Reggie McKenzie is the only one who who the team has confirmed has completed an interview with the Tennessee Titans right now. What I'm not interested in doing, and I think we can agree on this as a show, is I don't want to just read their team bio pages. Can we avoid that?
Well, we can't do that for the reported lead candidate for the Tennessee Titans, as reported by Diana Rossini, Reggie McKenzie, because he does not have a team bio that I have found on the Dolphins website. He's listed on their staff directory.
He's perfect. Nobody knows what he does. Bring him in here. Get him in here.
Well, quite the opposite. I mean, Reggie McKenzie is a well-known name around the NFL. Senior personnel executive that he's been in that role with the Dolphins since 2019. Obviously, people know him from his time with the Raiders. But, okay, the boxes. Am I missing anything with these boxes that Reggie McKenzie would check if he was hired as the general manager of the Tennessee Titans?
Freudian slip.
Man.
He's so scared I'm going to drag him back into that
turnover on the mind.
Yeah, I bet it is.
Reggie McKenzie has
snake
a connection. I'm stick him in the broadcast booth and see what happens.
This man is threatening me this morning. Don't you stop making these jokes. Cut it out. Cut it out. And he's the one who drags us back in.
Out of respect for the Vatva.
Yeah, that...
Reggie McKenzie has a connection with Chad Brinker.
He's so full of crap.
Reggie McKenzie was part of the Packers organization from 1994 through 2011. He was director of football ops, sound familiar, with the Green Bay Packers from 2008 to 2011. Chad Brinker obviously spent 13 years with the Green Bay Packers, had overlap there, has that connection. He has been in a personnel role with the Dolphins where he doesn't have final say over the roster. This would be an opportunity to continue down that path, but upgrade in terms of salary, status, position, all of those things. He has extensive experience as a general manager from his time with the Raiders, knows how to be the front-facing figure, deal with the media, and he's got tons of local ties. Knoxville native, he's a Tennessee Sports Hall of Famer, former Tennessee Volunteer himself, and then went on to play in the NFL. So at surface level, he does check a ton of boxes for what the Titans are looking for in this position.
And, at the time, Oakland, with Brian Callahan as the general manager when Brian Callahan was working as an assistant coach there. So there's some level of familiarity, I'm sure. there is this should be viewed as the lead candidate if, and we'll let them go through the entire interview process and they may determine that there's another lead candidate. But of the optics and relationships and who this person has been their entire career, this person would make a lot of sense. Now, again, he's at an advanced stage of his career, which is different than, some of the other people who are on this list who are.
How old do you think he is?
Reggie McKenzie? He looks 1,000 years old.
Oh, come on. Don't do that to him.
Look, tell me that man does not look like he is like the real life embodiment of Father Time. It's not his fault.
Take a guess.
I would say, is he, okay, let's play this game. Is he older or younger than Mike Keith? Because I'm shocked to find out Mike's 57.
I know, so.
Okay. I will say that he is 65.
61.
Okay.
Spring chicken.
I started watching The Sopranos again this week for some reason, and the fact that Tony Soprano's mom in that show is 70, and that's what 70 years old was back in the late 90s, early 2000s.
There's always a good reason to start watching The Sopranos again.
Delightful show.
Reggie McKenzie, a 10th round pick in the 1985 NFL draft. He played for Coach Doug Matthews.
Oh, how about that?
Yeah.
We could get Doug to talk about
Was the defensive coordinator at Tennessee when Reggie played there.
So, I mean, it depends on what you're looking for. Again, and are they going to change the definition of the position? Are they going to move the goalposts on the position the way that they did to the last guy? Because, again, I can think that Rand Carthon did not do a good enough job as the Titans general manager. That is my belief. I also think that they moved the goalposts on that man while he was doing the job, and that's a load of crap. Are they going to do that to somebody else based on this structure, or are we going to have? Are we actually going to have patience over panic, as described by Chad Brinker in the statement on TennesseeTitans.com as it regards the process, the path to get this thing back to meaningfully competitive? Is that actually an option?
Well, the structure will be as clear as it has been in quite some time since John Robinson was the GM.
I don't think it's any different.
Right?
I mean,
it is.
To
It's
your
hugely
point,
different.
in terms of what we know, yes, there is much more clarity in what we know. But based on what they told us Rand Carthon was going to be within the structure of that system, it doesn't sound all that much different, other than Chad Brinker now has the roster control.
No, to me it sounds very different. Look, Rand Carthon and Mike Vrabel were GM and head coach.
Yep.
Was there clarity to you for us, people that are not in that building,
No.
as to who's calling the shots there?
No.
Okay.
Not until everybody was cleared out
Right.
and people started talking.
Chad Brinker, of president of football ops, Rand Carthon as general manager, who reports to Chad Brinker, Brinker reports to Amy, and Brian Callahan as head coach. Was there clarity to you in terms of who has final say there and everything, all the goings on, the dynamics of that front office?
Yeah, they told us Rand had final say.
But Chad Brinker was his boss, right?
And we talked about that. We didn't talk.
Yeah.
That's on us for not talking about that enough.
Sure. And now you have Chad Brinker as president of football operations. They have said he has final say. He is the final authority on the roster.
This is the most declarative
General
they
manager,
have been
yeah,
about this
to head
situation
coach.
publicly at any point, because their fan base is also sick of their crap regarding the shell game that they've been playing with the front office, with the roster control situation, where 4 different people have had roster control in the last 4 years, and fans, rightfully, again, on a variety of different fronts, deserve better and deserve more clarity and deserve more transparency from an organization that most recently had 3 wins.
Albert Breer says interviews will be held virtually, talking about the Titans, and the organizational structure set up last year stays the same. Coach Brian Callahan will report to the GM, who will run the draft and free agency and oversee scouting, medical, strength and conditioning, etc. But it doesn't stay the same necessarily, because they've told us Chad Brinker has final say on the roster. But in terms of the structure on who Brian Callahan reports to and the chain of command, so to speak, then yes, in that sense, it does stay the same.
Yeah, that's to my point. They just don't want Rand Carthon doing that job anymore. Right, wrong, or indifferent. 615-737-1045 is the number. What is your feeling on the Titans general manager interview candidates? Do you have one? Do you have a favorite? 615-737-1045. Let's start with Shay. Hello.
Now, that's an interesting thought, because Jonathan Jones...
It's not even a funny bit that you're doing. I could hear him rustling around. He or she.
Thank you, Jackson.
That was the fakest laugh I could do.
Is that person still on hold, or are we just keeping them there for fun?
Let's keep him there for fun.
All right, fade it up. Let's see what he's doing.
Shay.
Oh, there he is.
Oh, can you guys? Oh, it's Scott. Sorry.
How the hell do you get Shea out of Scott, Jackson?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Scott.
My apologies. Okay,
No, it's not your fault.
You did nothing wrong,
It's rife
Scott.
incompetence.
You did nothing wrong.
It's rife incompetence. As per usual, it's our fault. Go ahead,
So
Scott.
Let's take this one step further. You got McKenzie, right? What about there's a connection to John Gruden?
John Gruden's roaming around. He's most recently in Nashville doing Bussin' with the Boys interviews. What's your point?
And he wants to coach again. He wants to get back into coaching.
Sure. And he also called Roger Goodell the P word, and I don't think that man's ever coming back from that.
I disagree with you.
Look,
Look, I love that as just the I disagree with you. Okay, bud.
the only connection with John Gruden
Is that John Gruden cleared them out,
Right.
essentially,
Like-
with Jack Del Rio and Reggie McKenzie. What,
Yeah.
Zach?
They crossed over at the Packers, too, as well as the Raiders. So there were 2 years that they crossed paths in the
Okay.
coaching ranks.
Gotcha.
Right, but were they not cleared out from the Raiders for John Gruden and Mike Mayock?
Correct. They crossed over one season
Yeah.
at the Raiders
Okay.
before Mayock got there. But they
6-10
also,
season.
before that, when I believe he was wide receivers coach, John Gruden was, they crossed paths at the Green Bay Packers.
Okay.
John Gruden, again, called the commissioner of the league, among many other things, and also some racially charged emails and homophobic language in emails. I think that the league would probably, right, wrong, or indifferent, excuse all that other stuff if he didn't directly call Roger Goodell.
Say it. No, don't say it.
I'm watching The Sopranos. Uncle what? Uncle what?
In that sense, I suppose it is
Bob and
FCC
Sarah.
safe.
What comes before
Yeah,
it?
yeah, we get it. Watch The Sopranos. Watch The Sopranos
Meow.
anyway. But this is important, though. Jonathan Jones got out there with this of NFL on CBS because we were talking about this idea that Josina Anderson was suggesting that league offices were kind of looking into the duties of the Titans general manager position, and I was confused as to what league policies would be in question here.
Nobody ever described the league
Right.
policies that were in question.
But Jonathan Jones reported yesterday the NFL has reviewed the description of Titans GM position, and the two sides have agreed that the vacant position will be the primary football executive post. Non-GMs cannot be blocked by their current teams from accepting interview requests. In other words, the NFL is not looking at this as an assistant GM position, which an NFL team could block an assistant GM on their front, in their front office.
Taking a lateral move.
A lateral move. They are viewing this as an upward move from going from assistant GM to general manager, even though they don't have final say over
I
the
wonder
roster.
if they can just justify that by saying we'll pay you more. Because tell me this does not read in every essence of the word like an assistant general manager position, even if it's not technically, and even if they can offer people some level of upward mobility.
Yeah,
here.
and there are fair questions there. Why doesn't Chad Brinker want the
like
general
it's
manager
a general
position?
manager job with
Yeah.
training wheels.
Sure. But, okay, does that make John Lynch the assistant GM of the San Francisco 49ers?
Kind of.
Yeah. So it happens in other places.
Oh, sure. 615-737-1045 is the number. If you want to jump in, we can continue to take your phone calls on the Titans general manager situation. We'll continue to keep you updated with the latest on the reporting. In fact, we can give you the list of names. Like I said, I don't want to read resumes for 3 hours of radio, but we can get into that coming up next. I'm Buck Reising. It's 104.5 The Zone.